thanks for attending the Oracle Integration webinar. Thanks for joining our quarterly webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, part of the Oracle Product Management team. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available at the Oracle Video Hub, including presentations for download. In today's presentation, Neil Kominski will introduce two new cloud services, Oracle Process Automation and Oracle Integration 3. Good afternoon, Neil.
Hi, Jürgen. Can you hear me well?
Yep. What's exciting about them, and will you include a demo, one of your favorite ones?
I will indeed, and everything is exciting, Jürgen. That's why we need the whole hour.
Cool, so I will be quick. Oracle integration is based on microservice architecture. The most visible change is the Redwood user interface. Oracle Process Automation is now available as a standalone service. Objective of the call is to give you an introduction in these new services and update you on Oracle Integration Cloud August release. Quick housekeeping. Today's session is live and this presentation is recorded. Please feel free to post your questions via the conference Q&A tool in the Zoom console. At the end of the webcast, we will answer them. Slides and an on-demand webcast will be posted at Oracle Video Hub, bit.ly/watchOSC. We will post announcement and links in the conference chat. Please complete the online survey at the end of the webinar. As we will present product roadmap information, please pay attention to the Oracle Safe Harbor statement. Please do tweet and blog about products and services which are available today. Today's agenda, followed by the latest announcement, Neil will highlight the Oracle Integration August release and introduce Oracle Process Automation and Integration 3, including live demos. We'll wrap up the session with questions and answers. So let's get started. We would like to invite you to attend Oracle Cloud World 2022. This year's conference takes place from October 16th to 20th in Las Vegas. Please check the sessions catalog for integration sessions, attend the keynotes from Suhas Ulia, and meet the product management team at the demo grounds. The annual Customer Advisory Board will take place on Monday, October 17th, and the Partner Workshop on Tuesday, October 18th. You want to attend? Please reach out to myself. Oracle Integration is part of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Free Trial Program. Build, test, and deploy Oracle Integration and connect your applications. The trial is valid for 30 days. Use the documentation and training material based on your role. Like business users, developers, and admins, we offer Get Started training material. Who are the integration experts to support your customer project? Go to Partner Finder and search for a local certified partner like Accenture and visit the Cloud Marketplace. Questions, need support, collaborate at Cloud Customer Connect. In discussions forums, you can share your knowledge, engage with industry experts, and network with peers. You can submit innovations and earn personal badges. What are the business benefits of an integration platform? Learn from a successful customer implementation. Attend the Customer Success Webinar Series. In the last edition, Discover a Financial Service and Accenture presented best practices. Today's webcast is recorded and will be published at Oracle Video Hub. Please subscribe to receive the latest updates. For regular information, please subscribe to the Oracle Integration newsletter. The quarterly updates from our team include the latest product information, events, success stories, white papers, and trainings. With this brief introduction, I would like to hand over to you, Neil. Neil, thank you very much for attending and presenting.
Okay, thank you, Jürgen. I'm going to begin with here. We're looking at Oracle Integration 3 and Process Automation 3 today. So so we have OIC Gen 2 today. We've also released just the last couple of months Oracle Integration 3 as well as Process Automation 3. And these are just logical, what would you say, continuations of what we've already done in Gen 2. So let's have a look at these now. So just going back to OIC itself, we have the same bunch of capabilities there: app integration for connecting apps, process automation for human-centric workflows, which could be extension to your SaaS apps, or it could be your custom business processes. Visual Builder for creating net new apps on top of your APIs. B2B for EDIFACT document processing, and Insight giving us business user-facing dashboards on top of our integrations and processes. And as we all know, Oracle Integration is an OCI service, is now an OCI native service. And there are 80 plus other services available to us. Many of these are very, very interesting from an OIC perspective, such as the API gateway for protecting access to your OIC endpoints, to serverless functions for externalizing business logic from your integrations, to streaming, to AI, machine learning, etc. So what is our strategy going forward with Oracle integration and process automation? So of course, we are in the enterprise integration platform space, you know, connecting and extending your SaaS apps and on-premise applications and technologies. But it's also providing the tools for digital transformation, enabling the rapid design, automation, and management of your business processes. Now, one of the concepts that we see on the market here, and this is from Gartner, is the concept of hyper automation. Now, this drive to digitalize what can be digitalized, and of course, through that, getting maximum value. So if we look at the different areas here, we have, you know, UI creation, which of course we have today with Visual Builder. Decision automation. This is also available today with Oracle Process Automation, and within that, the decision service. Choreography and orchestration. This we have today again in Oracle integration. Conversational UI. Just look at Oracle Digital Assistant and what it offers in this space. Now, when we're looking at discovery, modeling, and analytics, of course, we have Oracle Analytics. But regarding discovery and modeling, this is where I have to refer you to Cloud World. So there will be some announcements in this space at Cloud World. So I cannot take the power out of those announcements by announcing them now. So just in case, another good reason to attend Cloud World. If you can't be there in person, you can attend it remotely. Document automation and ingestion. So with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure AI Vision, that OCI service, combining that with Oracle integration, I can do exactly that. AI Vision can parse documents for me, returning the document type. For example, it's an invoice, it's a receipt, and of course the salient fields from that invoice or receipt. For example, supplier, products ordered, or products delivered, price, costs, etc., etc. Looking at integration via UI. So again here, Oracle integration today provides a huge amount of value add in this space. But again, watch this space and Cloud World for possible new announcements in this area. And then integration via API. Okay, the combination of Oracle of OCI API Gateway and Oracle integration is very, very compelling in this space. And as Gartner is saying, everything that can and should be automated will be automated eventually. We are just going to make it easier for you to do that. So decreasing the time to market for that for you. So this slide, okay, we have most of these already. It's just a tabular format of what I've actually just said there. Now, going on to the financial year 23 Q1 releases. Now, our financial year starts on the 1st of June. So two major release announcements here. One is in respect of integration. The other is in respect of process automation. Now, we're available as a standalone OCI service. So within Gen 2, we've seen, okay, it is part of OIC. It is now available also standalone. Now, the standalone offering can be compelling for folks who are using this together with Fusion HCM or our Fusion CX offerings. And you'll see the reason for that a little bit later on here. Okay, it's a new look and feel, as Jürgen mentioned. Everything's now the Redwood look and feel. And it's a new base platform that expedites release of new features and capabilities. So this applies to integration as well. So like, why do we have this as a standalone service? Well, process automation will still be available with integration as part of the larger OIC platform. But the reason for this is for SaaS use cases, and also for pure process use cases. This could be something in document approvals or something like that. Application integration. So what we've just released is the first release of Oracle Integration 3. So again, as I mentioned, these releases are the next logical iterations of what we already have within the Gen 2 space. The main mantra here is continuity, plus better auto scaling, plus better performance, plus quicker time to market for new features. So it's a win-win situation for you customers and for us, of course. Again, the base platform for compelling new features, and again, the Redwood look and feel. This is just an example here. Now, from a packaging perspective, you will see that Gen 2 and Gen 3 will be exactly the same. The idea here is the standard and enterprise editions remain the same with the same components. The new kid on the block here is the OCI process automation, which we see in the right-hand column there. This is process standalone together with Insight. So with process automation, so mentioning that it's standalone, yes, you go under developer services and you will see process automation available to be provisioned standalone. So what is it? So essentially it is the next iteration of what we have within Gen 2. So it's structured process support, dynamic processes support, our decision models and so on. So the same base components there. And of course, it's targeted business processes with long-running human workflows and tasks. So we see here the overview, you still have your web forms, you have your rules and your decisions, structured processes, unstructured case management style processing as well. We see here another area which is connectivity. So within the standalone process component, it is standalone, so you have to create your own connections to your enterprise systems of record. Today, what is supported in the V1 of this product is REST-based integrations there. We'll have a look at that as well. Now, you will see as well that we've got a new work list app. And the nice thing about this Process Automation 3 is the fact that the design time and the workspace app are two separate apps, as opposed to what we've had in Gen 2, where both of these are mixed. So some of the typical SaaS extension use cases that may be interesting in ERP, requesting an extension to your credit line, HCM absence request. If you needed some human workflows up front before that absence record is actually written to HCM, you could use process automation for that. Another example there from the CX space is a discount quote request. So there is new pricing available here for this. So again, this is for the standalone. And as you can see here that we have active process user per hour, minimum of 5 users. You see the price there of 10 cents. And then we're seeing down below here is an execution pack, which provides us with the execution pack is based on the actual steps executed within the process. So if you know that your process has 10 steps, okay, that's 10 out of your pack that you would be using for that. So again, it's giving you these two different ways of actually paying for it. So again, it's an external facing service. So you provision this in OCI standalone. You can see here we have this new selection here when you're creating an instance of shape. Now, shape has nothing to do with the technical shape in the background. Shape just is the word that we use. It may be a misnomer for saying whether this is a prod or a non-prod environment. So as you say, development is non-prod, production is prod. And this selection will will decide when your instance will get upgraded. So you know, like we have these regular upgrades. We're looking here within Oracle Integration 3 and Oracle Process Automation 3 at bi-monthly upgrades. So if I've chosen development, I will get this instance upgraded in the first wave of that month. So that'll probably be the first week of that month. If I've chosen production, then it'll be in the third week of that month. So the idea of these two waves that we have there. Demo, I'll just walk you through, you just see what it looks like. And as most of you know, I'm more at home actually doing demos than actually doing PowerPoint. See, PowerPoint is always a challenge for me. So here's let's go into the auto approval app to begin with. So the auto approval app is a structured application. You can see here, we have all of our components listed up here. So it's very easy to navigate around this. So let's look at the auto approval process. So you will see here, it's the standard BPMN structured process that we have here. And within this, we will see we have our swim lanes, of course, and we have all of our tooling over here. So extremely, very, very similar to what we've had in Gen 2, or what we have in Gen 2. So I can see here, I've got my user interface, I've got my decisions. So I've got my business rules here. So I've got just a very, very simple rule here for discounting. You can click on this guy here, and if we edit this guy, we should be able to see that. And then you see, here's our decision table. You know, if the product is an iBike and we're quantity, or the quantity multiplied by unit price is over a certain amount, we're giving different discounts and so on. So very, very simple stuff that we have there. The types here, these are types. Now, there's a new type available here, which is called list of values type. So you could well imagine if I have an order entry form and I want to have a list of orders that can, or products that can be ordered, I can create a list of values here for that. Here's our order business object, the typical thing containing fields like order number, customer name, product, etc., etc. Then, of course, we have the roles within this here. So we've got the customer sales rep and we've got a manager role within that. Very, very simple. And here is the connector. Now, of course, here is a connector that will allow me to create a customer in our ERP. So as you can see here, this is going to go to an OIC instance. But in this case here, I'm specifying all of that information here myself. So the net here in this first release of process, there is no browsing of integrations in existing integrations in OIC. But when this process will be available within OIC 3, that of course, that functionality will of course be available. The timeline we're looking at this is within the next 2 to 4 months for having that available there. So that's just one application there. Let's look at another application, which is the insurance claims. Now, I've created an insurance claim here, which is very, very simple. So this is one of these structured, or say unstructured processes, where you will see here the different stages that could be in an insurance claims. Now, any of you who work in an insurance company will say, Neil, you have no idea how these things actually work. Quite correct. I've simplified it immensely here. So the initial investigation stage, the fraud check stage, the settled claim stage, etc. And down below, we have a set of activities that can be called from any stage. So that set of activities, in my case, is just requesting documents from the driver, so to speak. So within this here, you will see that there are conditions attached to the activation here. So here we have a more case management style approach to designing the process, where we don't know exactly which functionality will be required. It's totally dependent on the case itself, you know, the type of vehicle, the damage, the driver's age, this, that, the other, and anything we may need here. But as you can see here, we've got the initial investigation stage, which could result in the investigator saying, hey, let's check this for fraud, and she throwing it over the wall to the fraud check person, and the fraud check person looks at it and says, you know what, it's not a fraud, pay the person, and then it goes on to the settlement stage and so on here. Okay, so now that is the design time. And if we look here for activating this, this is very, very easy to activate. Like you just go in here and then you just say, you'll be able to just click the activation button. It creates a snapshot for you, etc., etc. And then, of course, we can just test it in the workspace. So from a developer perspective, we have made it much nicer to actually work with this. So now I'm just actually going to run this. So I just take that URL and I go into workspace. And here's my workspace here now. And the workspace, Redwood look and feel, lots of lovely stuff here. And we're going to have an Americanism here. You are all caught up. Now, apparently for US folks, that means there's no work to be done. For somebody like myself from Ireland, it means you're all caught up in some sort of a net or something, which may really be applicable here. But again, let's look in here. So we're going to start request. So here's an insurance claim that I'm going to kick off. So I go into the insurance claim and we can enter a claim number 2112, customer number 2113, first name Neil, last name, email we put in at neil.com, it's the oracle.com, and the vehicle details HMI 819. Claim value, we say, is 50,000. Claim status open. I don't know what happened. So that's what I'm saying here. I don't know what happened. And the repair shop is going to be Joe's repair shop. Joe's. And the email is info@joes.ie. Now imagine that sort of request coming in. I can do a submit on that. So now we've entered this claim. So submit the claim. Now you can see here, we can go in and we can see what's the process like. So of course, the first step here is the initial investigation, which should be shown up here now. And here it is here. So we see the first stage is in progress. So depending on whether the investigator decides it's fraud or no fraud, this stage will be activated, etc. So I can look at the activities here and I can say request docs. So I can just go in here and I say start. So what this is going to do is going to send an email to the person, the driver, asking for more information such as dash cam or whatever, which they may have. You can also see I can start the initial investigation. So I go in here to the initial investigation. And of course, I'm using the same form here, but I've got a different here, just read only, whatever, but the claim value could be changed. So I go in here and I say, you know what, I'm going to select the status. I want a fraud check on this guy. I'm not too sure. So because I'm going with that, I'm going to reject this guy. Okay, so you can see here the fraud check is now in process. So let's go in here to the fraud check. Now the fraud checker has an awful lot of experience, and he knows that 50,000 is nothing for repairing a vehicle, especially when the driver didn't know what happened. So we'll just say no fraud. And of course, we see here this automates the settled claim stage is automated. It's just sending out an email to Joe's repair shop saying, go ahead with it, Joe. The claim has been approved and best of luck repairing that damaged vehicle. So that's just giving you an example of what this actually looks like process. So I'm going to go back to PowerPoint, which again is a challenge for me. So next one here. So you saw here with the tooling, low code, no code editors, process, dynamic process, all of this sort of stuff, and of course collaborative support, all of these beautiful things. The workspace, as you say, the workspace looks an awful lot more compelling. Now the BPM, or say the process API, is still available if you want to create your own workspace, but I think this workspace is much more compelling, and many folks might decide just to go with this. Now as regards this for Fusion applications, now just because I mentioned this at the very, very start, the whole concept of CX action plans. So within CX, you could have what are known as an action plan, and within that action plan, there could be, say, an approval of a quote or whatever. And whatever, this is not available out of the box in CX, for example. So CX now has a hook, or has the possibility to invoke Oracle Process Automation 3 and execute this workflow. The example here is, okay, there's the laptop approval process there. So this is just showing you the type of actions that we have in CX. So easily called from within HCM. So that's just showing those guys there. Let's go into Oracle integration. So what is Oracle integration? So I'm sure you all know Oracle integration is the non-plus-ultra enterprise iPaaS platform from Oracle. Targeted application integration with a plethora of adapters for on-prem cloud apps with state-of-the-art monitoring within OIC itself and also at OCI level. The business user-facing dashboards with insight and easily leveraging other OCI services depending on your business requirements. 2017 was generation 1 of Oracle Integration OIC, which brought integration and process together along with Visual Builder. In 2019, with OIC generation 2, we had OIC plus B2B, plus file server, and plus Insight. Now, the new platform we're talking about now today is the exciting new platform, which will be the base for new features. And many of these are big ticket new features, but many of the new features as well are more in the area of delighting developers. Small things, but many of these small things that just make development work an awful lot easier. So you can think big ticket new features, smaller new features, but in total, they're providing a much smoother and agreeable developer experience. Now, some of these ones are mentioned here. We'll be going through them later. So the benefits of Oracle Integration 3. Now, the benefits of Oracle Integration 3 are myriad, but let's look at some of them in a bit more detail. The new look and feel, of course, is the Redwood look and feel. Loosely coupled components. So within Generation 2, we have more the monolithic approach. Within Gen 3, it's separate services, which makes it easier to actually scale those services independently of each other, etc. Better performance. Now, we've seen better performance in respect of executing integrations on Oracle Integration 3. Improved metrics and observability. So we've improved the monitoring, which is now referred to as observability, in Oracle Integration 3, both within OIC 3 itself and at OCI level. As I've already mentioned, it's easier to scale and improve developer experience. Now, just for you all, this is going to be a journey. So the improved developer experience will be more and more visible over time. So we had version 1 of this released today. And over the next couple of months and say year, you will see a huge amount of new features appearing. So I'm mentioning some of these new features. One of those is projects. Now, projects is very interesting because it's going to give you as customers the ability to package integrations and their artifacts in projects within the UI. Now, if you know today, when you go in and you create an integration in OIC, anyone with that service developer role can see your integrations, etc. So everybody sees everything, and it's just one long list of integrations. Going forward, you will be able to create what are known as projects. And a project could be, for example, an HCM onboarding project containing all of the integrations one needs to implement the HCM onboarding process. So this could be 4, 5, 6 integrations, different connections, different lists of values, different JavaScript libraries maybe being used as well for business logic by them. Phase 1 of projects will give us that packaging unit. Phase 2 will be the basis, or will be the implementation of resource-based access control on top of those projects. So it's not just creating the project in the UI and having a nice visual ordering of your integrations and artifacts. It's also providing you with the ability to say, this project can only be edited by certain developers. It can only be viewed by certain developers. And so we have the ability then to have different groups of developers working on the same OIC instance, development instance, for example, each seeing only the stuff that they should see. So the ERP developers only seeing the ERP related integrations and connections. The HCM developers only seeing those for HCM. In respect of resource-based access control, we are also looking at runtime aspect of this. Who can monitor the integrations in this project? And also who can execute or invoke the integrations in this project. So this resource-based access control, which you will be seeing implemented over the next year or so, will be very comprehensive, not just design time, but also runtime, but based on the concept of projects, which will be released very soon. Another big ticket item that many people are looking for is caching. So here we're talking like implicit caching a la service result caching from service bus to explicit caching, which we had with the adapter in SOA Suite, where you could do your put and your retrieval from the cache, your cache invalidation. You could do that, express that programmatically within your integrations. Another big ticket new item we're looking at implementing very soon is parallel processing. So many of you folks may know this from SOA Suite. There was the parallel branch, and then there was also, let's give parallel branch or split join in Service Bus. It also the flow N component within Beeple, and it's allowing us then to process maybe invokes in parallel when that makes business sense. So you could well imagine if I have an integration where I'm getting in an order and I need to get prices for these goods from particular suppliers. And from a business perspective, it's fine for me to kick off requests to each of those suppliers in parallel. Then this is a sort of construct we would use for doing that. The new look and feel. Okay, the new look and feel is the Redwood look and feel, functionally rich, lightweight, so it's quicker, and it's more intuitive. And I notice myself, because I'm a heavy OIC user, that there's less clicking required now to get the job done, which is great for developers. So the big ticket new features, we mentioned those already. I've already talked about the projects, and the fact Oracle Integration 3 is 100% cloud native, and this modular approach appreciably decreases the time to market for new features from our engineering perspective. So this is just a screenshot of what the projects will look like. And again, expect this within the next 2 to 4 months. And when you go into Oracle Integration, you see in the menu, I haven't demoed it to you yet, but you will see this soon. Projects as a menu item there, you click on that, you can create a project. This could be, we call this one here, okay, a test map or API. You can create as many integrations as you want within that project, connections, lookups, libraries, etc. You still, of course, have the option to click on the design menu option here and go in and create your integrations as you do today in Gen 2. So just that as more as your global project where everybody will have visibility. Okay. Now, of course, we're talking about, again, benefits of Oracle Integration 3 with the loosely coupled components. So the components are more loosely coupled. And an example I'm using here is, okay, Visual Builder, the ability to configure and scale that's independently of other OIC components. Now, this is very interesting because we do have many customers, OIC customers adopting Visual Builder. And some of these customers may have a very large pool of users for these Visual Builder apps. So it's very useful for them to be able to scale Visual Builder separately. Now add an extra OCPU to Visual Builder as opposed to scaling the whole platform. Now I mentioned better performance. Now these are just some figures that I have, and I plan, of course, to do this, to do much more research in this and provide this to you folks. But the net is here, we're looking at a 44% improvement for a REST sync request. Now, this was a very, very simple REST sync request that we're doing, getting rewards from a loyalty system, where you can see here the improvement is dramatic. Same thing was getting profile there. And then, of course, the actual executions per second as well. So we're looking at much better performance here within Oracle Integration 3. Now, the availability, how you provision it, and so on. So today, Oracle Integration 3 is available in Brazil, Vinhedo data center, and in Phoenix in the US. Now, of course, the plan is to make it available everywhere, in every one of our data centers. So we will hope that the main EMEA data centers will have this by the end of October. But as I say, today it's available in Brazil and in Phoenix. I mentioned this already, but just again, the OIC customer will be able to specify which environment she is spinning up. Now, again, we use the word shape when you're choosing this in the creation dialog, and production or non-production. Again, wave 1 for non-production, which is the first week of the upgrade month usually, and wave 2 for your prod, which is usually the 3rd week. So if we look at it this way here, when you're actually creating this, who is this for? To begin with, as I say, this is the first release, and this one is really targeting net new integration customers who have no requirements for Visual Builder and B2B. Now, those who require process could also subscribe to the new OCI process automation SKU. However, you will see net new customers could also still provision OIC Gen 2. Now, this is a point in time situation that the OIC 3 still does not yet include Visual Builder process B2B. This is something that we will have in later FY23 releases. So we hope that very soon after Oracle Integration 3 is available in the EMEA data centers, we will also have parity with Generation 2. Now, who can get this? So to begin with, net new OCI tenancies created after July 22 will be able to provision Gen 3. And again, those customers will be able to select between Enterprise or Standard Edition for Gen 3 or Gen 2. Now you will see then as well, of course, there is our shape that we see down here as well with development and production and so on. And of course, there's the BYOL support there. Now, of course, like every rules, there are exceptions. So existing Gen 2 customers, if you want to try out this new version before you get upgraded to it, and that upgrade is something that we will deal with probably in the next quarterly webcast. And of course, there's no rush on this as well. You will be informed every step of the way, and it'll be really a dialogue between ourselves and yourselves on this. But if one of you wants to get, or any of you want to get access to it before we have parity, you can just raise an SR and ask for this. And essentially, we will whitelist your tenancy, and then you can go into your OCI console and spin up or provision on Gen 3. Our message to customers for the next quarter. So as I say, this is a point in time situation we're at. If you say, I just need to integrate cloud to cloud or cloud to on-prem apps, I may want to use Insight and File Server with that. Well, Gen 3 covers all of your needs for that now. If I want to use Visual Builder as well, then go for Gen 2. If I want to use Process as well as integration, go for Gen 2, or else you could use the combination of Oracle Integration 3 and OCI Process Automation. But as you saw in my demo there, these two products are not integrated. So in Process Automation today, you have to create your own connection. You cannot browse connections, and currently only REST-based connections are supported. But again, that's just a point in time thing. When Process Automation is part of OIC 3, that will not be the case. You will be able to browse your integrations just as you can today in Gen 2. Now, if you want to use B2B, okay. If you want to use B2B today, then you go for Gen 2. But again, this is just point in time. We're only talking about the next quarter in this respect. So now we're going back to a demo. So I'm going to get out of this here, and I'm going to go into my demos. So this is always the challenge, get rid of PowerPoint. I'm happy with that. So here we are in Oracle Integration 3. So just to let you see here, folks, go to the home page. So the home page is very similar to what we have, but it's in Gen 2, but it's the Redwood look and feel. So we see here, we've got our recipes, accelerators, recent activity, and so on. So another thing to note here from a roadmap perspective is we are investing quite a bit in recipes and accelerators. So expect to see an awful lot more of these appearing here. If we look at the menu here, we can see we've got design. So this is essentially your integrations. We've got insight here. We've got observability, which is monitoring. And within settings, you will see there's the file server. So there should be a file server set up here. And so say, yes, there is. Okay, so we see that there. So if we go back here to design, and we go into the usual menu that we're used to from Gen 2, integrations, connections, lookups, and all of these things. Let's go into integrations. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at let's look at one of these integrations here. So I'm just going to here, you will see here, there are some small changes from the user interface, how you actually run this guy here. So it's very intuitive, you know, it really is intuitive. So now I can go in, I can edit this guy here. So let's look at some of the changes. One of the changes that you will see here, again, is the Redwood look and feel. But you can see here, for example, within the switch, I can expand, contract the switch. Now, that might seem like a small thing, but if you've got a very large process, it's useful to be able to contract as much of these things as possible. Another nice feature that we have in here is the ability to search. Now, I've suffered this many times myself in Gen 2, where when I've got a very large integration with many actions, and I want to search for a particular action, I want to edit a particular action, and then you're kind of, you know, you're zooming in, zooming out, trying to find that, and so on. So here what we can do is we see the structure of the integration. We just click on one of these guys and it goes immediately to this. Now, of course, in this particular instance, it's not that effective, but imagine I have 100 actions here. The ability to be able to just click on this guy and it brings me directly to that is really worth its weight in gold. So other things to note here, for example, is the cut and paste aspect of this here. So we can go in and we can very easily cut something and then paste it wherever we want. Also here, if we look, here is for tracking. Instead of having the hamburger menu here, you can just, there's the payload and I'm tracking based on the order number, etc. When you look at the actual connections, they are available to you here. You can also add connections in line here if you wanted to. Are essentially the same as what we've had in, or what we have in Gen 2 today. Global. If we look here, we've got the ability here to export and to actually print. But when you're actually printing, just for a word of note, you're not actually printing the graphic, you're printing the pseudo flow, so to speak. You see it here. So that's what you're actually printing. It's the pseudo flow. Okay, just to let you know that. So let's go out of this guy here and we just do discard. Now, when I'm actually activating this guy, very simple way of activating it. And you look here and you can see the 3 different trace options that we have. Now, this is very important because in Gen 2, some folks are concerned when the activity stream rolls over and some logging information that they would like to have is no longer available. But here you see, within production, data is retained for 32 days. Now, it's not retaining all of the data, of course, the payloads are not being logged and that sort of stuff. But it's the default for when you do go into production. For audit, you can see here 8 days. So within audit, you're getting the payloads. You're getting the wire payloads that come in and the payload that goes out and the payloads for any of your invokes within your integration. For debug, which of course is optimal for when you're developing your integrations, retained for 24 hours. It may slow down the system, but we don't worry about that because we're just doing kind of our functional tests within this guy here. So let's do that with this guy. So now we've got this guy activated. So within the activation here, you will see it's activated very quickly. And then we can go in here and we can actually run it. So there's no test icon here. You have to just go in here and press run. And here we will see, for example, our payload, and the payload here, I'm going to generate an error because I'm going to put in an order with a value of 0 and I'll just run that guy. Now this should throw up an error. Yeah, it does, internal error, and it says the internal error is because the order value must be greater than 0. Very nice. So I won't have one error there. And now I go in and I put in a value here of 2000 and I just run that guy there. And you can see here, okay, this is invoking a load of child processes, so to speak. But the response is very quick. So we can go back in here and now we can look at our observability, which is the monitoring for this. So we can see the dashboard. Now the dashboards have been revamped as well, giving you a load of salient information up front here now. So you see our error rate is pretty good, but we have still got some errors that I've generated over the day here. You can see the tracking down here of the past 24 hours and so on. So now from there, I can go to the actual instances. And you can see here is my process order demo. And of course, if I go in here, I can view the child instances. So this is a very nice feature as well. So you can pick on a process instance, a main process, and then you can very easily see all of the sub-processes that were invoked by it. And then you can see the execution times and these sort of things. You know, when you see here, things like 9 milliseconds and so on. Very excellent execution times. Now let's go into one of those guys where we did actually have the error. So I'll just go onto that guy there. And where is the guy with the error? Says, hey, this guy here. So let's go to number 6. So one of the nice things is when we actually go into the activity stream here, you will see highlighted at the very top is the fact that there is an error. So this is very nice. Before you would have to go through and see where the actual error has occurred, but here it's up right in your face what's actually happening here. You can see, of course, the wire message. There's the JSON coming in this respect here. And let me get out of that guide. Sorry, just go in that guide again. And then you can see occurred here. It's one of the first errors, so I don't see any other invokes there on that guide. So if we go back into another instance here, we'll see one that actually, then one afterwards, this is the one that succeeded. And we see in the activity stream here, we get all of the information here. And you can see here, in depth here, and you can see there's the wire messages. All of these guys are being shown to you here and so on. And of course, we can see what's actually returned then, message sent to reply, and then reply message. And there's the JSON that was returned as well. So you get all of that information within here. Okay, and one of the other things, of course, is at this level as well. So I'm just going to go into my integration instances here. So these are the ones that I have in my compartment. And the one that I'm testing on at the moment is this instance here, the dev instance. So within this dev instance here, you can see we have the metrics, and we have new metrics involved here, which is like kind of configured messages. How many message packs have I configured? And I see I've got this one message pack, which is quite correct. And now I've got this build messages, the sum, and you will see here. So I've just got to update the chart, and it should show me then, okay, that's one of my big tests where I had there this afternoon. Now I can do it here over the last 6 hours, and you will see quite a bit of action that's been actually happening over the last 24 hours and so on. Okay. So this is very, very useful, and especially there, I can see very quickly, like if I go to the 1 hour, then I can see exactly now, there I can see, okay, my peak was 2,118. So it's very, very simple to see, am I going over the 5,000, yes or no, with this information here. Now, one of the nice things about this as well is the fact that you can use these monitoring queries to create your own OCI dashboards as well here. So apart from your OCI monitoring, you can do quite a bit of monitoring at OCI level. Another nice thing about this here is you can create what are known as alarms. So I created an alarm, for example, in an example. I have a process that actually creates customers in NetSuite. And I created an alarm to fire when that creation takes longer than 1 second. And of course, this is very, very useful for just isolating those possible bottlenecks and so on. So these features that we have at OCI level are very, very important as well. So it's not just what we have in OIC itself, it's also what's in OCI as well. So now I'm going to just go back to my presentation here now. So we've gone through the product demonstration. Jürgen, there are all of these interesting integration resources that everybody should know about.
So Neil, thank you very much for the wonderful demo. Thank you for a great overview. So the integration website is available with more information at oracle.com/integration. Visit the documentation for all the details, including the lab material, and you can also find now the first labs at Oracle Live Labs. There are plenty of really good blogs out there. The team is blogging under blogs.oracle.com/integration. Neil, your blog is excellent, so I can recommend everybody to visit Neil's blog, and you can visit my past community blog, and you can share for the community also your blog articles. The easiest way is to do it via Twitter. Please subscribe to the quarterly newsletter to get updates and future webcast invitations, and also the latest events. We have plenty of questions. Let's go through some of them. So one question which came up very often from multiple persons is, when is OIC Gen 3 available?
Well, as I say, OIC Gen 3 is available today in Brazil and Southeast and in US Phoenix data centers or regions. We are hoping to have them in all regions, all of our EMEA regions, by the end of October. So most of you, I think everybody should be able to access it by then. Again, for existing OIC Gen 2 customers, this access is via an SR. And one of the caveats, of course, here is if you do get access to Gen 3, you can kick the tires with it, but you cannot develop integrations on Gen 3 and then attempt to run them on your Gen 2 production environment. That will not work. So it's just very important to note, Gen 3 is great for net new projects or for kicking the tires, but there's no backwards compatibility in this respect. Naturally enough, of course, you can take Gen 2 integrations and import them into Gen 3, but the other way will not work. Any other questions, Jürgen?
Yeah, you just answered the question on Ravi Sinka if you can run Gen 2 processes on Gen 3.
Exactly. And guys and girls, we will have a separate webcast all about the whole, we will include a section on upgrading in our next quarterly webcast when it gets more, when it's more timely. And we will explain exactly how this will actually happen and what's really the value add. And I see there's a huge value add for customers in Gen 3.
And Gagan is asking, how do you know which version you're running, Gen 2 or Gen 3?
Okay, so it's very, very easy to know that, because if you go to the About box in OIC, you will see that. You will see as well in the OCI console which version of OIC you have provisioned, and within OIC itself, when you go to the main page or the home page, you will see the Redwood look and feel first of all, and then if you go into the About box as well, you will notice immediately that this is Gen 3.
And we have a question for Paulo Mutta from our team, who's also with us. Julie would like to know, will there be an option to keep Process Builder as part of OIC, or do we have to move to the standalone version in generation 3?
Process automation going to be available both with standalone and part of OIC. So as Neil have presented, soon we will include process automation with OIC as well.
Great.
So folks, that should be available within the next couple of months. Like the fact that it's standalone and it's not a part of OIC 3 today is purely a point in time issue. It will be there in a couple of months. And
Sumant would like to know, when will be B2B available in OIC 3?
We are targeting that, and again, the safe harbor statement applies here. We are targeting that for the end of this calendar year.
Do we have an upgrade or decision path for the move from Gen 2 to Gen 3?
Imagine if I have a customer today who is on Gen 2, who's just, when I say just in inverted commas, using OIC to integrate, for example, cloud apps like Salesforce and ERP and Fusion ERP, for example. So the whole idea is, folks, they could actually do that today. They could import, export today. So once we've got Gen 2 parity, in other words, once we can say all of the stuff that you have in Gen 2 will run on Gen 3, that's when we can start the large program or the main program for upgrading folks. But you will be involved every step of the way in that process. And again, my colleague Milad will go through that in our next webcast.
The next question is for Ravi. From Hassan, is Oracle integration the same like SOA Suite and SOA Cloud Services, and how can you move to the cloud?
And looking from SOA to OIC, then we're happy to help with that. Do get in touch with either Neil Komisky or myself, Ravi Pinto.
So in other words, folks, if you are interested in that, we can do a dedicated session with you on progressing from SOA Suite to SOA and OCI, and then maybe for new projects, OIC.
If you have multiple projects, can I import a specific project or migration? Is a question from Tilali.
Yeah, well, see, that's one of the ideas that we're going to have with this is with the projects is that you can actually specify within a project, a bit like a PLSQL package, you know, which integrations within these projects are outward facing. Yeah. In other words, which ones can I invoke from the outside world and which ones are maybe just invocable from other integrations within the project. And then when you're doing the deployment of the project, you can say deploy all integrations in this project, or you could say I want to specifically only deploy certain ones. Because it could be a case that some of these integrations are completed, other ones are still work in progress. So we'll be very flexible in that respect.
Okay. A quick update from Ravi Shablani. Ravi, you are one of our product managers for the US. Welcome to the call.
Thank you, Jürgen. Glad to be here. Yes, I can hear you.
You want to give us an update where we're currently rolling out OIC 3 in additional data centers?
Yes, we have additional data centers, such as we have them in Canada, we have them in India as well, and DXP. So there's a few other data centers that are coming up gradually, and this number is going to increase over time.
Thank you very much. So it's good to reach out to the team and to check if it's already available in your local data center. We have Tassin. Let me see if he's still there. Tassin, can you hear us? You wanted to ask a question?
Sorry, Jürgen. It was by mistake, but anyhow,
okay.
I just was trying to copy all the questions and answers to have it separately to be as a reference. But if you'll send the record, including this chat part, it will be fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Yes, I will do that. Thank you for attending many of our webcasts, and thanks for the nice business.
Okay, so I think we've done very well. I know we're 8 minutes over. Apologize to everybody. Look forward to curating your move to Oracle Integration 3, and look forward to loads of exciting projects on the new platform and loads of successes for you all. So thank you very much for joining the call.
Thank you very much for attending. Thank you to the whole team, Ravi, Paolo, Nathan. Thanks for attending, everybody, today, and sorry for the Zoom problems to join the webcast. It seems to be a Zoom outage. We are looking forward to welcome you at our next call, December 15th, and please complete the survey once you leave. Thank you. Bye-bye.